Welcome to Business Line's State of the Economy podcast, where you'll find insight, analysis, and the story behind the numbers.
Hello, I'm your host Haripriya. In today's episode, we will be discussing what are the avenues available for tech talent in India in the current job market. Some context before we begin. Currently, the demand for tech talent in the country is subdued. The IT sector, which absorbs high volumes of talent, has reduced hiring due to macroeconomic effects on their business. Across India and all industry sectors, there are presently a little under 90,000 available positions in tech sector. This volume is down by over 45% compared to the typical demand cycle. Today with us, we have Rajesh Chandran, Head of Talent Acquisition at Happiest Technologies, and Aditya Mishra, MD and CEO of CIEL HR, to offer insights that could help the tech talent today. Thank you so much for joining us today, gentlemen. Aditya, so probably you can kick this off by giving us an overview of the current talent demand environment in India. In which sectors has demand drastically reduced? What are the numbers looking like now?
I think the tech talent today is kind of in a very unique scenario, I will say. On one hand, there is a funding winter, which is troubling the startup ecosystem. And secondly, the global headwinds, which are impacting the IT services organization. At the same time, there are a lot of new skills, new technologies which are in demand, and organizations are looking for those, such as cybersecurity or full stack development, things of that kind, or very higher end skills in analytics. So I would say that for the tech talent, it's in a very interesting scenario. People who have the right skills, there is a demand, and people not only at fresh from the college, but also in the mid-level talent, mid-level of organizations, there is quite a bit of a draw if you have the right skills. On the other hand, if you do not have the right skills, you have very generic, vanilla kind of skill sets, you have not really invested on yourself in enhancing your skill sets, then it's a little bit of a tough time one is facing. So that's in general, that's a kind of a scenario for the tech talent. We see GCCs in India hiring a lot, expanding. GCC meaning Global Competency Centers, that the large organizations in the US and other parts of the world have set up in India to take advantage of the availability of highly skilled talent in India. So that is one. Second, BFSI, pharma, engineering, construction sector are looking for IT talent much more than what they did in the past. So that's a welcome development. So that's the second thing that we see. Third, I talked about startup ecosystem already, where the demand is not much. And the fourth, which is IT services companies. Again, the large IT services companies, the demand is not significant. It is only the mid-sized IT services companies who are continuing to grow. They are expanding.
Right. Rajit, so could you provide us some insight from the IT industry, given that it's the industry that acquires a lot of talent, significant amounts, and we see that slowing down, as Aditya sir said. So what exactly is happening? How is the demand panning out there?
Yeah, I think Aditya covered well in the spectrum of thought process. So if you look at IT services part, the core thing which is changing is the innovation. Every day there is new aspects which is coming in, which is really questioning the existing platforms which is being used by the client in US, UK, and other geographies. So this change is causing a lot of CIOs and CTOs to think how to look forward for an IT services partner who is going to take them through this difficult phase of transition. And therefore, the longevity of projects, if you look at the typical IT services, 10, 15 years, even 5 years back, used to talk about organization signing deals for 10 years, 5 years, 3 years, etc. Today, that is significantly started to shrink, and such kind of opportunities are reducing because the client is not too sure about the demand in that space, and a lot of automation is going to reduce the dependence. That is having a huge effect on the IT services in terms of looking at short-term projects and also projects which is of immediate transition in nature, where there is a clear outcome that has to be shown at a shorter viewpoint. In such a case, you always look forward to utilize your existing talent in the organization rather than trying to bring new talent and trying to build them for the future. Well, the future itself is very short term. This scenario is what is the current transition phase that we are going in, and it may take a couple of quarters. We really don't know, but till then it stabilizes. We will have a lot of focused hiring, focused demand in the market space, and skill building will be the focus for internal team members as well as for employees, whereas the external hiring will be chosen for a specific opportunity which is there in the organization. So that's the phase that we are in currently.
Both of you mentioned about skilling, having the relevant skill set. Would upskilling help after graduation? What are the kind of courses or specializations that freshers should be looking at to make their portfolios better?
Yeah, I think so. That the kind of skills that I just mentioned about things like cybersecurity, high-end data analytics, cloud infrastructure management, full stack development, some of these are in demand, and Rajesh can definitely add to this. So the freshers, they need to update their skills if they have not really had the opportunity to learn them well, and with certain degree of complexity of projects they need to handle. So this is one. Second, I will say that it's also a change in mindset for freshers, which needs to happen because of the speed at which technologies have been evolving. The change in mindset that I am referring to is the interest, inclination, determination to continuously upskill. So even if they get a job today, the skills that they are using today, after 3 years, things could be very different. So they need to keep on upskilling throughout their life. Gone are the days that you just graduated from an engineering college, got into a job, and you are there in the job. You keep climbing the ladder of that organization or the ladders which are available in the industry. So here one has to stay relevant all the time. I would say every 2 to 3 years there are significant changes which are happening in the industry. Hence one has to upskill. So one has to find the time, energy, effort and interest to learn new skills. So this is the second thing. Third, I think a lot of flexibility is required at this point in time, given the tough labor market. That, for example, the kind of salaries one is looking for, the locations one is looking for, the kind of roles one is looking for. If one is flexible, the chances are better that one will land up with something meaningful. So these are the 3 points that I would like to offer, Haripriya.
Wonderful. Great thoughts, Aditya. At the same time, the way in which I look upon this is obviously there is a lot of potential in the industry for people, young minds to come and contribute. The observations that I have based on the engagement that we have with various campers and people coming into the organization, I find that many of them are not prepared themselves for the careers that they wanted to get in. The current environment is the content is there in the market space. Anyone who has a good network or a system to connect to the internet is easy to access thousands of hours of learning content. So therefore, what is the differentiator they should have is they should know why their interest level is. I have seen members asking for associated to be data science, but they do not want to do Java coding. These are conflicts, right? We are expecting very simple things from the fresh talent to be aware of the fundamentals in terms of what is the interest level, where do they want to invest their time, energy, and what is the kind of a growth path that they are looking for themselves in their own careers is the first thing that they should be clear about. Second is the taking inputs. Now, industry and institution, there are thousands of ways to connect with. And a lot of information flow is happening in this stream. And they have to utilize this. Students have to utilize this connects to get to know deeper on where to invest once they've frozen the interest point on what they want to get into. And the third one is the curiosity, right? Like in the case of a medical profession, there is going to be continuous learning that is going to come in the engineering space. Like Aditya said, gone are the days when you just study for 4 years and rest of them the organization takes care if you are part of a company. That is not existing anymore because the industry is changing. Therefore, new challenges. To overcome new challenges, there is no ready-made answer. Therefore, people have to invent with what they have. And in that case, only curious mind with a learning ability will be the winner. So this is something that they need to inculcate much ahead in the young journey itself.
Sir, for most graduates that come out, campus placements is one of the sought after avenues to get yourself a job. Given that campus placements have reduced, what are the other opportunities or the options that graduates can refer to? And what will be the easier routes to get a job now?
My point is one is, as I said, in these kind of markets, you should be prepared to be flexible to keep your learning options open. If there is an organization which is able to give you an opportunity to learn about a domain but not on technology, you have to be taking a call whether you want to utilize that opportunity for 1-2 years. In the meantime, earn, at the same time spend that additional time in learning your technology aspects. Either it could be from the same organization or it could be a certification or from a reputed institutes. That is something that they should be prepared for. Second, if you already have an opportunity to contribute to an organization, either in terms of an internship or an apprenticeship, please grab that. Because anything which is giving an exposure is definitely going to be a great foundation for the future. The third one is, if you think that you have a capacity to learn more and spend an additional degree to you, either a 1-year degree or a 2-year degree, over and above your graduation, that's the third option that we should be prepared to take if the first two does not work out. So therefore, anything which is there in the market, it is not that the market is completely dead and nothing is moving. There are opportunities which are still there, but grab what is interest to you and invest heavily on what you have.
Just to add to what Rajesh said, I guess one is to look out for various online resources which are available, which keep on advertising for the open positions. There are sites which focus on fresher recruitment, so keep constantly looking there, and the social network could be a good additional resource that students can follow. In addition to what Rajesh said, the three great points that he made, so this is just a fourth addition. And the fifth could be, which I already said, about flexibility. One has to be flexible about the location, about the salaries, and about the role which is available. So if that is there, then one's chances of landing up on something meaningful increase.
A lot of tech talent, especially that wants to get into the IT sector, are very apprehensive of switching to other domains, say a BFSI or a retail space where there could be tech jobs available. And they are also doubtful of how do I make my way back into the sector that I wanted the job in the first place. So how should a fresh graduate approach this situation? Do you guys think it's a good option to take the opportunity that is present in any sector and then make your way back, or does that kill your chances at getting back?
No, I think it's a great idea. And as we already discussed, we are standing at a point in time where non-IT sector is hiring tech talent much more than what they did in the past. For example, a BFSI company or a pharma company or an engineering company or a retail company today is hiring many more engineers, IT people than what they did, let's say 3-4 years ago, 5 years ago. So that's clearly an opportunity one should not miss. And secondly, nothing like understanding a particular domain. It's going to be of help in someone's career. Either you join an large IT services company or an IT product company, do a part of the job, and as you grow up the ladder, in a few years, you develop a larger perspective of the industry that you were creating a piece of software for. Or the other route is that you join a particular industry like a pharma or a telecom or a retail, and then you get an opportunity to understand about that particular sector. How does that particular sector work? What are the challenges and what kind of problem statements which exist in that sector, how to solve them using IT. Those perspectives you get an opportunity to develop at a very early stage of your career. So it's not a bad thing. You develop depth in technology subsequently. That's fine. Whether you develop depth first and then the breadth, or you first develop breadth and then develop depth, is just a matter of career design. Whatever happens, not that one is good and the other is bad. It's not so. They're just two alternative methods. So I would say that there are opportunities outside, and people should not limit their searches to only the IT services companies or IT product companies. They should broad-base their search.
Yeah. So if you look at BFSI, there is a new stream for the last few years called FinTech. Right? Some financial institutions have become technology institutions. So the competence here is you need to know the domain of how things work from a process flow point of view. But for an young engineering mind, it doesn't matter which domain they are going to work for. Like Aditya said, any exposure is always good. A domain expertise comes in only after 5, 6, 7 years of experience, deep experience, where you can call yourself as a subject matter expert. And that will take time. But for people who are starting off, they should not shy away from any exposure in any domain that they get in, because their contribution and learning is going to be at the grassroots level of technology enablement. And in today's world, the digitization is impacting every domain, and there is no exception to that. If you look at the forward-looking industries that we have, obviously banking going to go stronger, and it will become more technology-oriented. Automobile is making a huge revolution. It is only technology which is going to drive the automobile industry, barring the manufacturing on the shop floor. So you take a medicine field, you take the biotechnology aspects. The amount of research required needs deep coding. And to overcome all this, there is something called no code, low code kind of a thing. That means there is a set of thousands of developers who need to be extraordinarily good in developing so that the users do not need to do any coding. That means they have to do their user's job much in advance in the back end. So the opportunity is huge. The availability of curious minds who can make a mark is what we are looking for. And when you have an opportunity, it could be, as I said before, any path, you just grab it and move on with that. I think in today's situation, this is the best situation one can utilize for.
That's quite a positive outlook to end this on, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you.